Spencer. Thanks for coming in today.
Thank you, Alyssa. It's good to meet you finally.
Yeah, nice to meet you. I've heard good things.
Thank you.
So I'm Alyssa. I'm the sales manager. As you know, this is a job for selling some medical software. And you applied because you do think that you meet the qualifications. So essentially today we're just kind of gonna go over a list of 10 questions. Just answer them to the best of your capability.
Sounds good.
And yeah, let's get this process started.
All right, sounds good.
All right, so the first question I have is just tell me about yourself.
Okay, so yeah, I'm sure you've taken a look at my resume and everything. I'm Spencer Adams. I'm currently a full-time student at Utah Valley University. I am expected to graduate in business administration here in August 2022, so I got a year left. I'm currently a sales representative at EcoShield Pest Control, and I have brought on several different sales representatives as well and participated in the training of them and helped them be successful. And I just feel like my experience in the last 3 years of my door-to-door sales is going to transfer really well to this job opportunity, and I think I'm going to make a really good fit through my hard work ethic and everything like that. So yeah,
Very
it's a little bit
cool.
about myself. So.
Very cool. Yeah, you keep yourself pretty busy. I love it.
Thank you.
All right. So I'll occasionally take notes throughout the process. But the next question I have is I just want you to tell me about a time that you showed initiative. What prompted you to get started, and what were those results?
Yeah, good question. I think the first question, or the first thing that comes to my mind is, by showing initiative, I made it a goal this last summer of door-to-door sales to spend more time on the doors and work harder than I have in my first couple years. And so the way that I showed initiative was I decided to take, instead of the normal hour and a half lunch break during the middle of the day, I would only take about 20 to 30 minutes. And so that gave me a lot more time on the doors, and I was able to find more success because of that. So
Very cool. All right, next question. What was the most useful criticism you ever received from an immediate supervisor? And then how did you embrace this feedback and achieve a positive outcome?
okay, that's also a good question. I think the most positive feedback I've ever received from a manager or supervisor was in sales. Of course, as you know, there's tips and tricks to help your sales ability and knowledge and to improve your success. And so in door-to-door sales, there's a manual that EcoShield has that if we read, that if we study it and we read it, it'll help us get success. And so I think that's the feedback that he gave me. And what I decided to do after that was I decided to study the manual for 10 minutes each morning. And it took about a week or two, but after I started taking up that advice, I started to sell a little bit better. So yeah, I guess you could say that's how I responded to the feedback, at least. So
yeah, it was your positive outcome. Very cool. All right, and what do you feel you have to offer above the average employee when it comes to accomplishing your daily responsibilities and goals? And do you have a specific example?
Yeah, I think especially in my experience with sales, I have been able to go above and beyond the average sales rep. An example that I could give you is a lot of guys during the summer will get off the doors around 8:30, but I decided early on that I wanted to get every ounce of productivity out of the day in the evening times. And so myself and my car group, we knocked till about 9 p.m. every night. And so I think that's just one good example of going above and beyond and being better than the average employee or sales rep in this case. So we knocked till 9 p.m. rather than 8 or 8:30 every single day. So
very awesome. All right. Can you describe a time when you elevated the level of value you brought to a customer over time, and how did you accomplish that?
Yeah, sure. The way that I have added value to customers is oftentimes, in the beginning of my sales career, the first summer, I would just make a sale and then I would forget about the customer and I would not ever think about them or come back to them at all. But what I've done in the past year or 2 years is after I make the sale and they're a customer, I'll build rapport by not only giving them, all the office information, the company information, but I'll give them my personal information. Furthermore, I also participate in the actual service of the services that I sell. So when I sell someone pest control, I'll actually go to the home and I'll help de-web and help the technician apply the service to the home. So I definitely think that adds value to the customer and them seeing that I fulfill my promises as far as the service goes.
Awesome. I love that.
Yeah, these are good questions, Alyssa.
We try. All right, next question. Can you recall a time when you were less than pleased with your performance? What did you do about it?
Less than pleased with my performance? Sure, of course. So this is sales. This is the sales industry. It's up and down a lot of times, and it's a roller coaster, depending on the type of day you're having, the type of week you're having. And there have definitely been days in the door-to-door business where I've come home with 0 sales. Not very many, but there have been days. And so the way that I've overcome that is just I've studied harder in the manual. I've tried to brush up on my pitch and see what I can do a little bit different the next day. Because if you do the same thing over and over, that's just the definition of madness, right? So I definitely think that just studying, changing things up a little bit, and staying positive has helped me because, and a fun fact about myself is I've actually never had 2 0 days in a row. So I've always improved after, failing for a full day. So.
Awesome. I love to hear that. Okay, describe your level of competitiveness. Tell me about a specific situation where your competitiveness helped you achieve better results than your peers.
Okay, this is another great sales question, just because a lot of times in sales, sometimes there will be incentives or competitions, but regardless of those competitions or those incentives that sales teams will have on the table there, I feel like I've always had a healthy urgency in the morning when I'm on the doors and selling. So I've always been able to, most of the time, get a sale in the morning just because I want to see myself on the leaderboard. It's a little pride for me, I guess, that pushes me to be one of the first sales reps, with a sale on the day. And so, yeah, just being able to, push myself every day and not just inside of competitions and incentives, but outside as well. So.
Awesome. Good motivation.
Thank you.
Okay. Next question. I want you to think of an example when one of your customers was not pleased with something you or your team did, and what was that situation? How'd you recover from that?
Of course. So, of course, we sell a service, and our technicians, our service people are not always perfect. No one is perfect, right? So, of course, you're always going to get upset customers or just people who aren't necessarily pleased with that service. And so the way that I've always tried to deal with that is just by calling the customer who is unhappy and just talking to them and explaining the situation, just telling them that, in a way I have their back, and that, we can come out and do another service, free of charge, of course, or we're going to make sure that it gets done right. And so I feel like just listening to them, discussing with them, having a good conversation with them, and a lot of times, they'll at least be content with that, just having a conversation about it and talking to them. So.
Awesome. And can you give me an example of a time when you successfully persuaded your peers to change their minds and follow your recommendations? And what was that specific situation? in this result?
Okay. I think times where I've been able to persuade coworkers or people in the industry is because I have had the opportunity to train a few different sales representatives, like I said, in the industry. Whether they're my reps or not, a lot of times because sales is sometimes can be difficult when you're unsuccessful. Reps will get down on themselves, or they'll become lazy because they're not being successful or selling. And so just being able to encourage them and give them words of comfort and just leading them and encouraging them to get back on the doors, get back on the horse, get up, from falling down, and telling them that it's a numbers game, you're going to be successful. And in past, it's helped, as I've gone out and knocked with people and they've been able to see that success, it elevates their success. So.
Awesome. All right. Can you share a time when you were able to directly attribute your probing skills to solve a problem with a difficult customer?
Yes. So that's pretty similar to a couple questions ago. One of the biggest things that I think with difficult customers, when I get upset customers or just customers that just want to be difficult, because you'll always get those, is just to listen to them and to hear them out and not to jump at their throats when they're jumping at yours. I think the number one thing is listen and to explain the situation, explain that you're doing the best that you can. Maybe go talk to a manager or someone who's a little bit higher than myself and get everything everything cleared up as much as possible, and just tell them that we're going to be able to fix whatever we can in the best way that we possibly can. So
very cool. All right. And then tell me about a time when you identified a new, unusual, or different approach for addressing a problem or task. How'd you come to the solution, and what was the outcome?
Okay. So a new approach or a different approach, that's a good question. So I think that for that one, I can say I've been able to still bring success to the company in ways that are definitely different and not just the normal way. So in pest control, you're normally just selling pest control accounts, but some companies, they offer other packages as far as termite or German roach or mosquito packages. And so a lot of times when you I've knocked on someone's door, they might already have somebody or something, but you can offer them a smaller, different service, sell them on that, and then in the selling industry, you can always upsell. And so being able to get in that conversation and buying another 15 seconds of conversation, and then still getting them to be a normal customer anyways, just because I went a different route, has actually been really successful for me in my career thus far in the door-to-door business. So I feel like that's an example that I could give.
Yeah, that's awesome. You got more business from that.
Yeah.
All right, so that was our last 10th question.
Cool.
I do just have, I guess, just like the closing questions for you. So why would you be a good fit for this position at our company?
I think I'd be a really good fit for this company just because I have the experience. I have those years under my belt that I think I could be really effective at this company. I could really help the productivity of this company and those around me in the workspace, in the work environment, and elevate those around me, just based on the example of my work ethic alone. And you can see it in my resume and just see the numbers. I mean, just this last year, I did $100,000 of revenue for the company, and I think that coming to your company, we can be very profitable, and I think it would be a great fit, just because I know that I can adapt to new situations. Even though it's a new product, I know I can bring my skill set to you and the company. So.
Very awesome. The same feeling towards you also.
Awesome. Thank you.
Do you have any questions for me?
Oh yeah, thank you. I think I do have a couple questions for you. I did want to know, first, I guess, you're the sales manager. How do you like your job? How do you like your day to day? Do you enjoy it?
Yeah, I love it. The environment's super awesome. Everyone's super nice to each other and go out of our way to make the work life easier, more positive. I love the lifestyle. It's very flexible. You know, we're very understanding around here. If things come up, or if you need a vacation, the managers and supervisors are all pretty awesome and understanding about that. But yeah, it's a pretty great environment. We all love each other, we're all friends. I think that you would really like it if you were to be here also.
Cool, cool. And I guess just for you personally, how do you enjoy your job? I guess aside from the work environment, as far as your personal just experience working here for as long as you worked here, just your day to day, is it something that you feel like you're passionate about and everything?
Oh yeah, I started from the bottom, just like the position that you're applying for, and I worked my way up, and I've loved it. Just learning more. There's a lot of room for growth in the company, and it can happen to anyone. I love what I do. There's not a day that goes by that I regret being here. It's everything I've ever wanted to do. So.
Wow, that's awesome. See, that's what I want for my future, is to be that passionate as you are about your job. So
yeah, awesome. Well, we will get back to you. We're just gonna review me and my associates, your resume and everything. We'll get back to you within the next week or so. But we really appreciate you coming in. So nice to meet you again.
Yeah, thank you, Alyssa.